Hi and welcome to the 64 Doors. Today we're going to open door 43. Here we find the rebel. This is an archetype that is all about the inner voice and spontaneous resolutions. We're going to explore the rebel from a human design perspective and a Gene Key perspective. So here we have the Rave Mandala that has all the astrological signs and all the gates. And right now we have the Sun in Scorpio in gate 43. We have the Earth in Taurus in gate 23, and the design part of the cross is the 49 in Aquarius and the 4 in Leo. The Sun is going to be in gate 43 for 6 days, as in all the other gates. And in those 3 days, there are 3 incarnation crosses: the cross of explanation, the cross of insight, and the cross of dedication. All 3 have the 43 and the 23 in the Sun and the Earth. And the sign part is going to shift because we have different design sides because of the 88-degree angle in the cross instead of a 90-degree angle. So you can see the themes with the 4 and the 49 is going to be different to the 29 and the 30. Here we have wholeheartedness, commitment, saying yes. We have rapture, lightness, the fire starter is what we call it in the 64 doors. So really, if you have one of these 3, I would learn about each gate also separately, and to know that this is basically 70% of who we are according to human design. And the Gene Key is a little bit different. It's basically where you kind of need to unlock. You start to unlock here, and then you get access to the red sphere and the blue sphere. But this is the green sphere where you start to unlock, where you start to open up. And you could probably say a similar thing in the body graph, that you need to be aware and understand how to be in the true self and not in the not self of these 4 gates. And then a lot of the rest of the magic of your design is going to open up. Going back to here, the standard view of human design, the 43 points down from the ajna and meets the throat in the 23. And this is both a channel and programming partners. So if you remember, it's opposite sides of the Rave Mandala, and it's also harmonic gate. That means a lot of people actually have this activation. This is the channel of structuring, a design of individuality, genius to freak. If you can't explain your insights clearly, you will always drive people away. If you learn the right timing for them to speak and when not to speak, you will always get the recognition you deserve. And I would say also, we are speaking about timing, but it's also about who you are around, because when you have those spontaneous insights, and the 23 kind of translates them out into the world, it is about being around the people that can actually see how genius they are, and not around the people that are going to not be open to that and feel like you're a freak, although you come with something completely new and fresh that hasn't been spoken before. In this gate, we have, this is the individual circuitry. So there is a certain deafness in the 43 that is like more attuned to its inner voice than what it is to what's on the outside. So individual circuitry kind of so focused on itself, and in the low frequency can kind of feel like it's not there. And it's also, what do we have? Is it the 43 and the 34 is the codon ring. So they are, both of them have, like, together they are not taking in from the outside. And that's of course in the shadow frequency when they are working together, especially if you have the 43 and the 34 together, you can, I'm sure that you've heard people kind of telling you that. The inner motivator is, I trust my voice no matter the consequences. So that's of course that rebel that says it doesn't matter, but I'm gonna speak this in the world. And let's go into the Gene Keys. The Gene Keys is the frequency band. We're speaking about the 43 in a low fear-based frequency. We're speaking about it in a higher expansive frequency. The low frequency is that deafness we're speaking about. The higher frequency, the insight. The highest frequency, the epiphany. We see the programming partner again is the 23. So really, when we look at the body graph, if we go back to the body graph, we can see here that we have an inspiration that comes in the 61, and it goes into the 24, and it becomes like kind of rationalized over and over again in that 24, and then the insight drops into the 43, and then it's translated out of the 23. So 61, 24, 43, 23. That's how it goes. And the 23 is what we call the translator in the 64 doors. And low frequency of the 23 together with the 43, complexity and deafness, simplicity and insight, quintessence and epiphany. We are still in the Scorpio energy, fixed water, and it often has to kind of go down into the dark or the deep waters. That's when you're a rebel, when you're somebody who comes with something new to the world. It comes with this, and we can see just like the last transit we were in the first gene key, which is very similar in that sense, and also has to do with unique expression. In the I Ching, we have lake over heaven, and it's resoluteness, and it says, trust the enthusiasm of life to reveal the creative light. And you can see here, this is entropy, freshness, and beauty. That's the first gene key. The satisfaction, vitality, and bliss. That is the 58. So that's why you have lake over heaven. And so it says deafness is the satisfied entropy, insight is vital freshness, and epiphany is the bliss of beauty. I mean, that is so beautiful. And maybe for me, it's very beautiful because it's part of the braid of my being. And basically it's my solution, you could say, because my evolution, which is the biggest challenge, is the first gene key, which is beauty. And then I have a fourth line core wound, which is the sacred seal, which the 43 in the 7 sacred seals, the gene key 43 that's coding the fourth seal, the fourth line core wound. So basically here we have my vocation and my evolution, or my core wound and my evolution together. So of course, when I hear epiphany is the bliss of beauty, I'm like, wow, that's my solution to my core wound and my evolution. And let's see what more. Codon ring. So here we are. This is what we were just mentioning. So here it's through the ring of destiny that the two great forces of evolution and involution come together. Human destiny is caught between the polarity of these two gene keys, with the 34th representing the human urge to evolve and become more, and the 43rd representing the divine urge to involve and dive down to the world of form. In the ring of destiny, the epiphany of the higher planes encounters and infuses the majesty of the body on the lower planes. The result is pure fusion, as spirit enters matter and imbues it with divinity. The secret of this codon ring is the secret of timing, and down through the ages, it has whispered a great truth into the ears of those whose insight is developed enough to hear it. Life is a mystery in which chance and love are dancing together. This is so beautiful. I actually didn't really remember this one. So yeah, I have the 34. It's my Uranus. It's very powerful in my chart. That's kind of where I have to like always be in movement in this form. And then the 43 is actually my mom's purpose. So I really know it. She actually even has it in the first line. So I can see how I'm in some way I've been conditioned to kind of escape away to the higher planes in the 43, but really my physicality, it's all about wanting to be in that 34. And also my vocation and my Saturn are the 57. So that's grounding me in that connection between the sacral center in the 34 and the splenic center in the 57. I have that channel double. And that's my truth as a generator, to be grounded in that. And then my access, if you want, to the evolution, to the higher planes, to the 43 is really, it becomes a completely different thing when I don't escape in it, but I'm grounded in my physicality. I'm here. We're probably going to call the 34 the Black Panther. So to be in your Black Panther and still have this spark of creativity, of expression, of insight, of inner voice of the 43. That's quite something. And if we continue to the integral human design and we look at this, we are still in the individual circuitry. It's called the stream of creativity in the integral human design. We look at the low frequency of the 23 and the 43 together. It's very interesting to look at the whole channel and see the frequency band. We have avoidance. So complexity and deafness, well, that's avoidance. And then we have the simplicity, and the insight, it's the knowing. And then the highest frequency is the unknowing. And this makes me think about Richard. So it's like, the highest of everything is to not know anything. Because in that is like everything is included, it feels like. From the dream arc, we have the sparrowhawk, the moose, the electric eel. These are interesting animals. And then the mudra is it's kind of a simple mudra, and you can get the whole library, and also Jane Addams is painting all the mudras. There is still energy left from the last transit in Gene Key 1, which is heaven over heaven. Now we are in lake over heaven. So the foundational trigram is still heaven. That comes with creativity, that comes with unique self-expression. So all that is what we have in the 43. The 43 is an Ashna gate. So it's more about how our mind works. It's about conceptualization. It is about the insights. So it's a little bit more, in some sense, it's a little bit more mental. And the way that it can express itself is that we feel like when we are not in the right environment, with the right people, with the right circumstances, when we're not waiting for the right timing. This is why when we can feel misunderstood when we express ourselves, we can feel like a misfit or an outcast, or maybe in a good sense, a unicorn, but we don't really feel like people around us can receive us. So it's good for you to listen into those things in your life. Like, do you feel received when you speak? Do you have this inner sense of timing of like, now is the right time, now I'm in the right flow to be able to share? If you have the 43 and you don't have the 23, you have the insight, but you might not have like that direct connection to be able to translate it in a way so it can be understood. So what comes out of you might be kind of noise instead. And here we come into the other part of the 43 that has to do with deafness. So look at yourself and see, like, where are you kind of deaf for outside influence? When are you more focused on your own inner voice than really being able to take in what's on the outside? And maybe also, when do you create noise in your world? Whether it's an inner noise that is like kind of going around in your head, knowing that you have that 23, which is about rationalization and kind of patterns, like thought patterns. So like, what is the loop that you have in your head that maybe is making things more complex, having it also connected to the 23? So kind of what is going on in this realm, and is there noise, and how can you drop in when that's what you feel? How can you include that 34, the Black Panther, the body, to have that, the codon ring that is balancing the evolution, if you want, like the triangle that goes up, and the involution, the triangle that goes down, so that you can have that full Merkaba, the physicality and the form, together with the consciousness and the spirit. It's like soul and spirit is involution, evolution, is those two things, like those polarities that we always want to have together, the same as if we look at in the 1 and the 2, or the 63 and the 64, etc. And still in the individual circuitry, we are going to have melancholy. We are going to have sometimes feelings of aloneness, or of not being understood. So it can be also a possibility to tap into that. We're still in the Scorpio energy. So a little bit of these deeper waters, a little bit of the dark, that actually it's about gestation, and then or transcendence, and then there's a rebirth when we allow the process to move through us. And it can also, because we are in the ashna, it is good to look at your worries, and are they eating you? because there is something with escape that is like so spontaneous. It's spontaneous, it's spontaneous resolution. It's not, it can't be forced. The same way we said last week that creativity can't be forced, epiphany can't be forced. So it is also about trusting, trusting that the insights will come. And again, allowing that 34 as well to come, like allowing your physicality, because when you are not in movement, when you're kind of blocked and we're just up here, that is not the best environment for the insights or for the translation of the insights. So I would say it's a week to include a lot and not to close out and make yourself deaf for a lot of what can be part of your experience. Thank you.